Hello, it's Senior Running, and it's the day after the Gosport Half Marathon. Please do watch the video that comes out in the next week or so. It's going to take quite a while, quite a lot of editing. It did get cut short. The battery ran out after about 9.5 miles, but I managed to get a couple of clips after I'd finished. So hopefully that one will be of interest to you. I did eventually finish after injuring both legs, so it'd be really interesting for you to watch. I'm going to talk about the old chestnut. I like to upset people now and again. I'm going to talk about breathing. Now, breathing is really, really important, guys, because it's all about the VO2 max, the amount of oxygen that you can bring in, and the amount of oxygen you can absorb into the blood. The quicker, the more oxygen you can bring in there, the better, because that means your body can not beat as fast, because there's a lot of oxygen in your blood, and it can pass that oxygen through to the muscles, and you could change and absorb the oxygen and change the carbohydrates into energy, and you can get moving. The problem is for beginners. Now, when you're pre-beginner, I sit here on my armchair, and what am I doing? I'm breathing nice and gently. They're shallow breaths. Now that if you've been there for 5, 10, 15, and God knows it, even more years, just sitting there thinking, I really should get fit, and all of a sudden you think, I'm going to go running. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to go out there running, and you're still going to have shallow breaths because you've not got used to running yet, and you've not got used to having a breathing pattern, let alone having a deep breath to get more oxygen into those lungs and fill them up nice and full when you breathe in. So the first thing you've got to do is to try and make sure that the breaths that you're doing fill those lungs. And our breathing exercises, I kept getting told, I've got my legs strapped up, it's a bit awkward. Kept getting told when I was a beginner, try some breathing exercises. But I always used to think, I'm too good for that. I don't need to be doing the breathing exercises. But eventually you sort of realise, I'm breathing too shallow. If I could breathe like that, a bit deeper while I'm running, then I'm taking in more oxygen, and I'm changing more oxygen from air into the bloodstream, and my body can use that to generate power. Now, how do we do that? And I keep drumming on about this the rule of 21. It's actually a management rule. And basically it says, if I tell you I want you to stir your tea anti-clockwise instead of clockwise, don't be saying, I've done that for the last 50 years. I'm 50 years old. I'm 60 years old. I've done it for 50 years. I'm used to doing it. Give me a cup of tea without thinking. I'll stir it clockwise. If I tell you to do it the opposite way, and for the next 21 times you have a cup of tea, physically make sure you stir it anti-clockwise. A huge proportion of you will come away the 26th time without thinking. You'll just grab a cup of tea and you'll stir it anti-clockwise. And that's actually a fact. That is actually something that, strangely enough, in the context of management, is a known circumstance. You will do it. It is. You are more likely. You're not definitely going to do it, but you're more likely, as they say in management, to do whatever action it is after 25 times of repeating it. So if you can do these breathing exercises and you like once or twice a week, and you try and get this done properly, if you start doing it enough, then this rule of 25 could come in. And I would suggest, if you start doing these breathing exercises every time just before you're going out running, for the next 25 runs, Just keep, right, okay, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes before I do my run, and I'm going to do breathing exercises. There we are. Now, a lot of people do this by taking a nice deep breath in, count 3, hold the breath for 3, breathe out for 3. Some people say it's 3 and 6, 6 and 3. I think it doesn't matter as long as you're breathing in, holding it, and breathing out nice and gently. You don't want to sort of breathe in really quickly and then breathe out slowly, or breathe in slowly and breathe out quickly. You need to make it nice and even. In steadily and then out steadily. And this gets your body used to breathing in and out nice and gently, especially when you're thinking about going out for that run. And then when you're running, your body won't need to think about breathing this little shallow breath a little bit quicker. Instead, it'll start breathing this little shallow breath a little bit deeper. And you'll suddenly realize that you feel so much better. You're not almost like really quick breaths and getting out of breath because you're trying to bring more oxygen in using this little shallow breath. All of a sudden you're really feeling fit, and you feel so much better and so much alive, and you're changing more energy for another reason, because there's more oxygen in your blood. Your body's able to turn the oxygen and the fuel into physical energy. So it's really important, guys, to get that breathing nice and deep. When it comes to the rhythm, I have to do a little bit quicker on my breathing because I've only got 1.5 lungs. So unfortunately, the half of my left lung is completely shot. It's filled from the bacteria that infected it. So meningitis shot half of my left lung. Fine, but it means my breathing and my breathing rhythm is purely designed around the fact that I've only got 1.5 lungs. I have to breathe in a different manner and a different way to you. Now you can imagine as you get older, certainly into your 50s and over, we've got different ailments that we've had over our 50 plus years of living. And our lungs have probably taken a battering. We may have been in smoky environments. We may have been a smoker. We may still be a smoker. Things like that, and diseases and harmful things like me with my meningitis. And all of a sudden, you might have a little bit of a problem. You might even know you've got a problem. You might just know that if you get a cold, you get a chest infection every time. These are all things that will make you have to change your breathing pattern. And that's why I always say it's your breathing pattern. I can't tell you what the breathing pattern is. But what I can tell you is try a few out. Try 2 breaths in, 2 breaths out. 1 breath in to every 2 strides, and then 1 breath out for every 2 strides. And if you think, well, I just feel a bit uncomfortable with that, change it. Well, which do you prefer to breathe out quicker? Right, okay, then make it 2 steps to a breath in, 1 step to a breath out. And you just juggle it around, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, and just try and work out what it is that you do best and what you feel better with. You'll soon realize that combined with that deeper breath and getting that step, the proportion right to you and what you want, you'll soon realize that you can generate the power just by your brain controlling your breathing. And then it's just a case of all the other things that we have to think about, like getting the legs toned up, the muscles right, and getting the stride and all these other things I put in the videos. But certainly the breathing, guys, try and do the breathing exercises if you're a beginner, because you do need to get that breathing a lot deeper. It's not like when you're sat on the sofa with your little shallow breaths. You have to try and force the brain into thinking, this is how I run. I run with a deep breath. I have to run with a deep breath because it makes my running easier. and it makes the change of energy to and fuel to movement a lot more efficient, so and quicker. So do please take that into consideration. Do try to get that breathing right, and do remember, your breathing pattern is yours. Try not to choose someone else's. They may have an issue, and you haven't got that issue, and they have to run like that. So you wouldn't take my breathing pattern because I've got a lung issue. So do remember that. And it's Senior Runner losing his memory for a second there. Senior Runner over and out. Please like and subscribe.